Hello everybody, and welcome to Marvin Gardens August 2014. And I got to tell you, it's not really August, it's really Labor Day. And but I was ready to shoot the video yesterday. It was just raining, so I didn't. And I've got another shock for you. We're not starting with chives. And why are we not starting with chives? I'll show you. Okay, now please ignore the sound of the dachshund in the garden. It sounds like he's being tortured. He's not being tortured. He just hasn't been brought out to the corn patch, which is where we're starting the video this month. And the reason we are is what I'm going to show you right now. And let me just make sure. This is why we're starting here. This is popcorn. And do you see the number of ears? The number of gorgeous, large ears that are just in this row? It's amazing. And look down these corridors of corn. It's so dark in there because the corn is so big that the weeds don't even grow. I don't know if you can see that. But these lovely rows of corn, and I know I said this last time too, but I just absolutely love growing corn when it comes in like this. I will make a comparison to some of the other corn that I'm growing this season that is not so marvelous. But look at this. Look at this. Look at those. Look at the number of ears. Do you believe that? I don't. And the nice thing about popcorn, of course, which is what this is that you don't have to time the harvest. You just let it go and go and go until it totally dries out. Now, speaking of totally dries out, this is our sugar buns corn, which was an early sweet corn. And we got lots and lots of, dozens of very nice, if a little bit small ears, but they were absolutely delicious and sweet. But they're all done for. You can see them browning up, and it's a sign of fall. But then you come over to this popcorn, and it's just amazing. Okay, have I said that the corn is amazing enough? I don't think so. Anyway, also a tip of the hat to my corn planters, as you recall. And this is the results of your work. Congratulations. It's so cool. Anyway, all right, back to the regular garden, and then we'll go from there. All right, now that we've seen the marvelous corn, then we will take a look at we'll take a look at Frankie right now. He's just looking around. He's much happier now that I'm in the garden again. Chives, as usual, are a little neglected this time of year, but they are still doing fine. And if you can manage to harvest them in between all the grass and weeds that are there, they're producing quite nicely. This is our water feature that my sister put together for me earlier this year, and it's doing nicely as well. I can't find any froggies in there, but I actually see a snail, so it's inhabited. And so let's go over here to brassicas, and let me say one thing about the garden this year. It's not really being tended to properly because I just have other things going on. I don't know why. But the cabbages look pretty good. They're just beginning to head. The broccoli, I don't really know what's going on with the broccoli. It's kind of looks weird. Not tight heads at all, so not sure what's going on with them. And the Brussels sprouts are just slow. And this has been sort of a slow year for the garden, except for when it comes to summer squash. Now, summer squash And oops, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the camera there. There's a nice zucchini. We've had lots of zucchini. The only thing is that typical with this year being sort of well, let's say not keeping up quite right. Things like this happen. See, look at the size of this. You can see how big that guy is, right? Well, you're not supposed to let summer squash get that big, but it's been happening this year. There he is. It's a nice one. But I've discovered also that you know, it doesn't matter that they're that big. They still cook nice. The seeds aren't so big that they're impossible to eat. You know, they're not too hard or chewy even. And there's a good size crookneck squash. And don't get dizzy on me. My camera work is not doing well. But that's a I can't remember what they're called, but that's a scallop squash. And you know, they've been coming in very nicely, and I've been putting those huge overgrown summer squash right on the grill, and you know, just hit them up with a little barbecue sauce, and my camera work leaves a little bit to be desired this month. There's Frankie though. But anyway, even the huge ones cook up nice and tender, and so it's kind of sorry, Frankie. So anyway, what was I saying? I don't even know anymore. Okay. Meanwhile, we've got some yard-long beans coming in. These are called red noodle. They're doing okay. We don't need those squash bugs, however. And not as prolific as some years, but that seems to be the theme this year with the garden. These are, what are these? I can't remember what they are, but they're coming in nicely. Pole beans. Which variety is this? I can't remember. I think those are Vortex. Yeah, that's what those are. And they've been coming in steadily, but not profusely, in keeping with the theme this year. Now, these guys are northeastern, and it's the first time I've tried these. And they're doing really quite well. As you can see, there's just loads of them. They're nice tasting. They can be harvested in a range of sizes, and they're actually, of all the bean varieties I'm growing this year, they're the ones that are performing, you know, the best, and the way you would hope all your beans perform. These have also been pretty good. These are, I can't remember the name. What is the name? I can't remember. It's down here someplace, but I can't find the label either. So, but there's something Italian sounding, because they're an Italian bean. And then of course there's a summer squash sneaking in here, because these guys are taking over. Anyway, this is sweet potatoes, and this is what we like to see with sweet potatoes. You guys, you're eating all my corn. All right, I know, I'm whining. All right, we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, sweet potatoes look great, vining, growing all over the place. It's just going to be a question of whether we get some good sweet potatoes back down in here eventually, and we avoid rodent damage. But speaking of damage, God, guys, the dachshunds have been helping themselves to Silver Queen this evening. And no, you can't have that one. That's too good. That's a people corn. Oh man, look what they've done. Oh, you know, yeah, keep your eye off for, I mean, you don't pay attention for one evening, and look at look what they've done to these stalks. That's them knocking down these things, and they didn't even eat these two. You know, these I would even allow them to have as dog corn. That's what they've been doing. See, they've knocked them down, and at least they're eating them. You know, I mean, someone's enjoying the corn. Unfortunately, it's not me. But I can't really blame them. And I'm glad they enjoy the garden. Oh boy. Anyway, speaking of Silver Queen, this is the Silver Queen, and even though these stalks, see that's a very nice Silver Queen ear right there, and there's lots of them. These stalks are really anemic looking compared to some years, but the ears themselves still seem to be coming in. That's a nice one there. I've already had half dozen of them at least, and of course the dachshunds are helping themselves. So it's kind of strange, you know, sort of anemic looking stalks, but these ears are just fine. And this one that I stole from Jesse, it's sorry, I mean, I love dogs, but that's people corn. All right, so what else is happening in bed 2? We are moving kind of slowly here. I'm sorry. Those are just volunteer tomatoes that came up, and I just let them go. Everything else, as I mentioned in last month's video, in this area I just gave up on, which is radishes, beets, carrots, that sort of thing. And instead it's just a marigold nursery. And that's kind of nice because I've been planting those marigolds around the property for a while. All right, that brings us to onions in bed number 3 here. And these are Alyssa Craig's. And again, due to my own neglect, there's grass growing in between here. And you can see how tight these are. I planted them tightly so that I could, you know, pull some early on and use them. But I never pulled them. So now they're just growing in too tightly. But you can see that that's a really nice size onion, and they're ready to go, really. I've just been kind of letting them go as far as possible in case they were growing at all still. But I'll harvest them probably next weekend. I've harvested the other 2 varieties, Red Zeppelin and Candy, and we'll show you those in a minute. And these are potatoes. This row here is Kennebec. And there's also some, what are these? Yukon Golds, I think, down here. Not many of them left. And the Red Norlands I harvested this weekend. I'll show you those in a second as well. The leeks I have pulled completely. They used to be here, and this is the time of year when you start talking about where things used to be rather than where they are. And these are kohlrabi, and I harvested all but that one because that one was smaller, and that's the one Jesse's looking at. And he's about a little less than softball size, so he can go for quite a while. And that brings us to peppers, and we've had mixed results with peppers. And you know, I told myself I'm gonna look up the varieties that I bought so I can tell you what they are, but I haven't yet. So I can't tell you what that is, but it's coming in okay. And this is the one that's unusual in the crinkly leaves, and it's a nice bushy plant. And now look at that color. Isn't that delightful, that bright orange? I don't remember what they are. But when I remember, I will tell you. And all of these are doing pretty well. You can see all those little green ones there. But that bright orange color, I just love that. And I love these, the leaves on these. Very, like I said, crinkly. These, I do know what these are. These are Biscayne. And they're sort of a banana pepper. And coming in quite well. And you can see the number of them. Jesse's helping me look, and they're looking pretty well. These are called mellow star. And look at that color. Don't you love that? And there's the green one, and then if you let them go long enough, it's turning red, you can see, and then it finally ends up as this bright crimson. Very nice. And they are coming in very well. Now also over here in the planters, these are Carmen. Nice big blocky, but shaped like almost like a banana pepper, and they will also turn bright red. I think there's one down here that's turning red. You can see it's beginning to turn, and they're in the containers and doing pretty well. And also, if you remember, I planted the eggplants in containers because they were such puny little plants, but look at how well they're doing. These are Hansel, and I've had some already. Here's another pepper. That's the mellow star, and that's a Biscayne that I put in planters because I just had extras. But here are the more of those Hansel eggplants, and they're a slender eggplant, but they're doing just great in the containers. Very happy. Speaking of doing great in the containers, look at those zinnias. Those were just freebies that came with one of my seed orders, and yes, they are 3 feet tall. All right, that brings us to the other end of bed 4. And by the way, what you're hearing, that oh, if you're hearing it, those are peacocks across the way. My neighbors have peacocks, and they make very strange like that sounds. In fact, they sound a little freakishly human. Anyway, here we are on tomatoes. Tomatoes are doing well, but they also getting hit by something. I don't know if that's a blight or what it is that's causing all the leaves to brown up like that. But you can see we've got plenty of nice tomatoes coming in. I actually have tomato sauce on the stove, even as we speak. It's ready to be bagged and frozen, Ziploc bagged and frozen. And then there's Juliets. I can't tell you how much I love these Juliets. And in fact, in the afternoon when I'm in here, I'll grab them for part of my lunch or most of my lunch, and warm in the sun. Oh, I can't tell you how good they are. And excuse me for eating and talking at the same time, but these are just too good to pass up. Just delicious. And they're really wonderful, and they're sweet. And of course, the dachshunds help themselves to them as well, and I can't blame them. So, again, Juliet's one of my favorites, or my favorite. Sorry about that. Meanwhile, these are ground cherries, sometimes called tomatillos, I think. And they're very fruity and delicious. And when they're yellow like this, the pods, that's when they're ripe. And they pretty much taste like cherries. They're not like tomatoes at all, as the name tomatillo would suggest, but they're really much more fruity. Then this bed is just all my extra tomatoes, and this one happens to be by that pear shape. You might think it was a Juliet by the size, but that's actually a Roma tomato, but just as good. And you can see that these are not doing nearly as well as the ones that are caged and in the raised beds, although that's a pretty nice looking Roma Italian tomato, and I'm going to eat it. And but they were just leftovers, so that's to be expected. Now, here is the only time, and again, excuse me for eating tomatoes while I'm talking, but you know, sometimes you just got to do. This is the only time I've planted corn that I didn't get one ear. There's an ear, but I'm not going to harvest it out of the process. This is supposed to be an Indian corn, and they were the most anemic looking plants I'd ever seen. And they put out some silks and stuff, and the dachshunds kind of got in here and went after them, and I kind of let them because it was like, ain't nothing going to come out of these anyway. So that's in contrast to the robust popcorn that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So if you happen to have a bad corn experience, don't give up, because it's just picking the right variety and treating them the way that they need to be treated to get stupendous results like those out there. Anyway, bed 6, I think this is bed 6, is another marigold nursery. These are all volunteer marigolds that just came up from previous year's seeds that were in the ground. And every once in a while I come in here and you know, move one from one place to another in the garden. And I have one more thing to show you, I think, because I think I've showed you everything else. But we have to take a quick trip out to the orchard for me to show you that. And Frankie's undoubtedly going to complain about that, but that's what we have to do. So through the magic of video editing, we are now about to be in the mini orchard. Okay, we're in the mini orchard. Once again, ignore the tortured sounding dachshund that you hear. It's just Frankie complaining because he's not here. That, as you can probably guess, is a peach, and we've had quite a few peaches. I'm going to show you how I test for whether a peach is ready. I just come out here and just barely twist it back and forth like that. And if it falls off on your hand, it's ready. And if it doesn't, it's not quite ready. So I'm going to try that one, and that one's not ready. There's only one more left, because the rest of them I've harvested. Oh, I can't reach that one. And that one's not ready either. So I'll spare you watching me eat a peach. But we had 2 peach trees out here, both moderate harvests, but very nice peaches. I guess I've had a dozen or so. And they're so sweet and nice. Meanwhile, we do have some activity on one of the apple trees. This is this focusing very well? It's not focusing very well. But you can see red delicious apples all over the place. And in fact, looks like people or creatures have been enjoying that one quite a bit already. And those are the red delicious. I don't know if we have any Granny Smith. If we do, there's very few. No, I don't even see one. So this is not a Granny Smith apple year. But we did get fruit off the other guys. And we've got a couple of pears on the little pear tree. That's, let me zoom in there. Where is he? I can't find him. There he is. My zooming is really bad too. I can't believe I'm posting this to YouTube. Such disgusting camera work. Anyway, there's a couple of pears, but this is not a big pear year. The fruit trees seem to kind of go in phases. You know, they'll they have a bearing year and then they have an off year. You never know what's going to happen with the fruit trees. But that's about all, I think. It's much darker out here than you would think looking at the video. You know, Frankie's going to be very happy that I'm coming back inside, right, Frankie? No. Sorry for my camera work again. But that's it. Very nice out. Like I say, this is Labor Day. And, the other thing that I did want to share with you, and I'll do that now, is I told you I was going to make a video of my irrigation system. And I did. And so I think I'll either insert that here or just insert a link to get to it, because this video seems to be going on for an eternity, and the irrigation system video is not all that short either. But regardless, I think we're finally to the end. Marvin Gardens, 2014, August 32nd actually. But like I said, I was ready to shoot the video yesterday. It was just raining, so I didn't think it was a good idea. There is one thing I wanted to show you. One other thing, the harvest that we have here. Again, it's a modest harvest year, but those are red Zeppelin onions. Those are candy onions, and these are red Norland. I was trying to focus on the screen right now. There are red Norland potatoes. Not a big harvest like we've had some years, but a harvest is a harvest is a harvest, and those guys are just airing out, and I'll probably take them inside in another couple of days. But alright, now that is going to finally do it. Marvin Gardens, August 2014, and that's all I have to say. So we'll see you next time in September, when we're staring fall in the face. And fall's a nice time of year. Well, every time's a nice time of year in the garden, you know what I mean? Alright, we'll talk to you later. Bye.